This is, like I say, this is some of the toughest soil I have. But even down in here, where he's digging, if you look at this, you'll say, well, it has moisture in it. You see?
Well, you guys can all grab some of that. But
It actually, it has.
Pretty heavy clay.
And see, you're down into here, and this, you know, this is not loaded with moisture, but it has got moisture in it this winter, and which is, I'd say for this soil here, as tough as it is, and you see how he's digging through it, but you also, the proof in the pudding is, you look at the roots down here, and you'll see roots all the way down as far as he has dug, and these are live roots as you look down here, going all the way down to this useless soil, which is subsoil. You can see the root penetration. If you're looking here, you can see the root penetration all the way down through here, because these are live, active roots clear down in here. See, and so this crop is surviving, and it will make grain irregardless of no more rain. This top system itself and the depth of the root system pretty well tells the tale in this. This is tough dirt. This is just plain tough dirt, and the rainfall is going to be what it is. And what you have to do is you have to capture. If it's 8 inches, you have to capture that 8 inches. And is that going to be enough? You know, I don't know. I have not run into a year yet that I couldn't make grain. I'll tell you that. And this year there are guys that they're making hay rather than grain, and I think they're running out of moisture.
Yeah, well, I mean, we're getting there. I mean, obviously, I'm a believer in no-till. He didn't talk much about our, practices at home, but we got 300 acres in Turlock that we've been no-tilling since. Oh, I don't really need the microphone. 300 acres in Turlock that we've been, started no-tilling in, 2006. So, and that took maybe 2 to 3 years to transition over again. Dad led the way on that, and pretty much he didn't really talk about how he got interested in no-till, but it was about that time, and we made the switch directly at home, and then within a few years, as he said, he wanted to branch out and grow some grain somewhere else, and he did, located this property and started in here. But so obviously the difference between what we got at home with the sandy loam, irrigated flat valley, irrigated land versus up here, 180 degrees difference. But we've been very successful in Turlock, raising corn and a winter forage, getting really good production, and our soil at home is just phenomenal.
Is it sandy soil?
Sandy loam, yeah, and I mean, it's just phenomenal. We'll pull 30 tons of corn, 15, 17 tons of winter crop, winter forage, and haven't touched a piece of tillage equipment on there in over 10 years. So, I mean, when he says no-till, it's zero tillage,
Make
nothing.
sure it don't fall in.
So no, we harvested our winter crop a couple weeks ago, and then started planting our corn. We're currently we'll probably be finished tomorrow. We're planting corn right now, and that's going well.
Is the equipment you're using basically transplant from the Midwest, or do you have to have anything specialized for California?
Well, I don't know about specialized for California. What we bought way back when we when we decided to go. So my uncle was partners, and he didn't want a no-till. He was conventional. We had all the big tractors and rippers and discs and all Challenger and big equipment. And so soon, and then he split off with us about that time, and that's when Dad said, "Hey, what do you think about doing this?" I said, "Hey, sure, let's try it." We looked at a lot of information beforehand, and could see that it could work. And so, of course, we sold all of our equipment pretty much, and then he, invested in a no-till grain drill and a no-till corn planter. And now we got like a 100 horsepower tractor that basically plant and spray and do a little bit of most of the fertilizing goes in like when we plant, and then the rest of it, most of it goes in with irrigation water. So we don't do a whole lot of additional fertilizing. We do spread some dry manure at home because we have with the dairy and stuff. We do put out dry manure and stuff, but pretty much plant and spray and harvest, and that's it, and irrigate.
Michael, question. I know that your interest is in the grain crop for the livestock. The triticale is a nice crop. What do you see in terms of rotational needs? Do you think chickpea or pea might be a rotation crop here? Or
I use safflower.
Okay.
Safflower grows up here quite well,
Uh-huh.
and it's if you can get production, it's a good paying crop because of the oil, the protein, and it's on the equivalent basis. Once they squeeze it out, it's not the quality of meal that soybeans make or soybean meal. Yeah, it's not quite there, but nonetheless, the price you get per ton out of the field is a reasonable price, and it's a reasonable rotation here. Some people have thought about planting canola, and it's not far from the other field, but this soil is much more forgiving, it's not as heavy a clay, and it has always been more productive from day one than the other. Now, I'm not saying it will be this year, but it has always been much easier to farm and to get a decent crop off of. And if you look at the soil and you pay much attention to it, you'll see that this soil it is clay, but it is much sandier in its texture. In my viewpoint, I think I think it's just plain a better soil. The fact is, if there's moisture down there, it's getting it. It's getting it. And when you're making grain, that's the thing in the hill country is, on the flatland, you say, well, gee, I'm running short of moisture, I'll irrigate it, and that's what we're used to doing in the valley. But this is totally different, and you have to have the moisture. It's like you have to, when it rains, you have to be able, you must make that rain run in where it lands and not move, not move. It has to stay there. And as I may have said before, when you drive around and you look at grain crops in the hills here, and if you see the low spots all green and grassy, it means that basically the water has run off into those low spots, killed the grain, and it went to grass, because grass thrives in wet ground. And if you look at this crop, like out on Highway 12, you'll see that even in the low spots, I don't have the death of the crop and the overtaking of grass. Essentially, that water has stayed put, meaning it's where it should be. And I attribute it to no-till. I also attribute it to getting a better balance on the calcium and magnesium. But no-till, I believe, even had I not applied the amount of calcium that I have, lime, I still would be having much better results. I don't think the results would be as good as I'm having today, but they would be significant. And so you got to remember that those roots are going to be eaten, used up, and all those root channels are going to be new channels that are going to be open for water, and not disturbing that. Then when you get the rain, you destroy the impact with the material on top, and then you have these root channels that also. The other thing is actually where the clay is heavy and makes it more difficult actually to penetrate that heavy clay. You do have cracks, and those cracks will, if you're probing around looking for water, like this last rain, I came up here and I was messing around. In some places I couldn't probe very deep because the stuff, even though it's got moisture in it, it's too hard to probe. But if I'm probing near a crack, I could be 2 feet away from that crack and probably probe down 2 feet because that water ran down.
or something like that.
Anita, I don't want to get in
But
your video.
Oh, no, 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 you're
nonetheless,
fine.
you know,
I'm
I
just
mean,
taking footage.
the roots are there.
Uh-huh.
And where you have a lot of roots, you've got a lot of other stuff going on.
Sure. Okay.
So that's one of the
And one thing he said, he hasn't plowed this for a while, right? How long? Been 10 years maybe? I'm not sure. But there, if you could look for a plow pan right around 6 inches too, for compaction. But the Sid put that in. It seems to go in fairly well, so it's not too compacted. You see any kind of plow pan, Sid?
Well, it's, you know, it's hard to say because these vertisols are essentially pans anyway. I mean, the whole thing's a pan.
It's hard to deal with, period.
Yeah, and so the fact that he's got this surface, this friable and open like it is with the roots going down in it is frankly pretty remarkable. This, you know, it's friable, it's loose, and when the water hits this, it's going to go in. When the water hits where we were parked, it's going to run off. It's just, there's no way for that water to get through that layer down there. But here, all of the water from, you know, if they get 8 to 10 inches of storm, that means they're going to get it in increments of a quarter inch, a half inch, maybe at the upper end. And all of that is going to enter this profile. And
3. So what about structure?
3.
Up in here, so you have strong, moderate, or weak.
Oh, up in the top?
When you're looking at
the
structure,
surface.
when you're looking at structure, let's look at the surface. Does it stick together? Does it form kind of clods or structure? Or is it just loose, real fine grained? What do you think that is? Like, is there good structure in that?
Moderate.
I'd say moderate to strong. 2 to 3. What do you think, Sid?
well, you know, I mean,
Depends.
we're going from
When you do, compare it to that
This-
one down below, the white stuff down below.
we're changing the surface from this to this. And
Right.
this is granular.
Right.
This
But I
is going to
guess-
take water very
where-
readily. It's also going to resist erosion.
Right.
So this I would give like a 3. I mean,
Okay,
he
let's give
isn't
it a
going to
3.
improve on this much.
Just give it a 3.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
But you know, I mean, he started with
Got it.
something like this, and